All right. Here we go.
Okay, can you hear me well?
I think I can put you on the big speaker. Hold on, just bear with me. It should be sound. I forgot. But you can hear him, right? Okay, but let's see if I can just put the sound. Sound should be this one. Okay, Johnny, can you say something?
Hey,
Uh,
hello?
yeah, still it's, can you say something?
Hello?
Still from my computer, right? Uh, yeah.
We have to maybe do it in through Zoom. I think this may have to do it through Zoom.
Do you know how, Frankie?
That's more.
More? Okay.
It's not there. It's probably gonna be uh audio, I think.
Oh, yeah, here.
Yep, it's not.
Oh, yes. Here we go. Johnny, can you say something now?
能不能听见？
Uh-oh.
Say something.
不能吗？
哦，great，好了好了，可以了，好了，好，
好的
那你分享一下你的桌面，share your screen。
啊，OK，看得到吗
可以，可以，可以，可以啊，非常好。
？Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Johnny Lavecchia, or Jiang Liqi, and Dr. Tan gave a very generous and accurate introduction for me. Um, and I'm gonna be giving you a presentation of how learning Chinese went from just like a minor in college to actually becoming like my life now, like my job and where I live. I'm super excited. So thank you for coming, and we'll get started. I got my coffee. It's 5 a.m. right now in China. So who am I? I graduated last year from Coastal in May with poli sci and LIS, as Dr. Tan said. My LIS was Spanish and Mandarin, and like Dr. Tan said, I started learning Chinese because I was just initially just looking for something to fill the other half of my LIS major. I already speak Spanish, so that was like super easy to check off. But I chose Mandarin because I was like, if there's one language in the future that's going to be important, it's probably going to be Chinese, especially for politics. So that's why I went that way. I had a lot of fun at Coastal. It was honestly it was a really good choice going there. I attended like the coastal. I attended so many events for like the Chinese program and other programs as well. So here's a couple pictures of me like getting interviewed. And I also was in like the Chinese New Year events, and it was a lot of fun. I kind of miss it sometimes. So always make sure to cherish every day you have in college because I know I sound like such an old head saying this, but it really does go by quickly after you're gone. So. As Dr. Tan said, I learned Chinese. I started in 115 and I took about 3 years of classes at Coastal. And some people might think, is 3 years really enough to get anywhere? I would say yes, totally. Um, it there's really no replacement for formal classes. I know people say that like living abroad and is a really good way to help, and yes, it is. Or taking classes online is or watching TV online are really good ways to help, and yes, it is. But truthfully, there were so many things that were so essential that I'm so happy I took formal classes to learn because it really, really does help my communication here. And honestly, it makes my life in China so much better. Also, as Dr. Tan said, I was a tutor at Coastal, so I was tutoring Spanish and Chinese. I was in a lot of activities, and I studied abroad twice, which helps so much. Um, it was awesome. And I'm going to be talking about my time in Taiwan and also my time now in China a little bit later. So if anyone has any questions, I can't see your faces, but like, let Dr. Tan know or something, and I could pause for a second and help answer those. Okay, cool. Here's some pictures of me from when I was learning Chinese at Coastal. These are from like 2 years ago and 1 years ago, Chinese New Year event. I put some videos into this presentation. I'm a little worried that they're not going to play properly. Let me give me 1 second. Just give me a couple seconds. If it stays frozen, I'll just move on. But yeah. Oh, here we go. Here's me doing.
The music is essential because it's the music that went viral in China during that time. And the real scene was much better. And I can testify. And Willie was in it, you're right, yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. Let me mute that. Okay. Yeah, me, Willie, and some other friends. We did some. We did. It's called 四大才子. It's like 4 grade talents. It's a traditional Chinese play for Chinese New Year last year. That was awesome. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with the Chinese program at Coastal, and especially it helped really well with like the cultural aspect. A lot of my friends and coworkers here have been super impressed with how much like cultural knowledge I learned from a lot of people who just don't take formal classes. They only know specifically the language and nothing more. But it's a little cool because my understanding goes a little bit deeper than some learners. So, anyways, I'll talk about as Dr. Tan said, I studied abroad in Taiwan twice. Um, one was in 2023 and one was in 2024 last year. So my first time was in the fall, and I won the Taiwan Mo Huayu Education Scholarship, and I studied at National Taiwan Normal University, Taiwan 国立师范大学, and that is in downtown Taipei, Taiwan. And I found my own apartment on Airbnb. Admittedly, I wasted a lot of money because I used like an American website, but I had a really sick apartment. And every single weekend, because it was my first time in Asia, I was super excited to go out, and I went on trips all over the island. I went to like 10 different cities. I went surfing. I was renting cars, and it was such an amazing time. And I have the picture on the top is like it's a little blurry, but that's my schedule. I literally only had classes a few hours a day. I had self study maybe 2 hours a day, and I had so much free time. It was awesome. The scholarship was amazing. So now I have a permanent Taiwan bank account in case I ever go back there. And oh my gosh, I wish I can relive that semester. That was probably the best 3 months I've had as a student in terms of just having fun. And I also learned so much as well because living abroad is just so different. There's so many things that it's just impossible to learn in a textbook, and culture moves so quickly. And I was learning so many different dialects and so many like young people slang, and it was awesome. So, um, if this is gonna play, this is like a quick video of what the apartment I was living in looked like in Taipei. I'm gonna give it a few seconds, and if it doesn't load, we'll move on. But um, yeah, that's all right. I got a lot more to say anyway. So yeah, these are some pictures. I lived in a really awesome apartment building. That's the view from my roof. It was really cool. I spent all the time up there because the weather in Taiwan is so warm and so nice all the time. Middle picture, I was just kayaking on a lake with some friends from Vietnam I made there. Another thing, you make so many international friends, which is one of my favorite parts about studying abroad, because people from all over the world are in the same situation as you, studying in a country that's very far away from you. And here's me doing the same dance that I just did at the Chinese event. But yeah, I joined like so many clubs at this university. I was in skateboarding club, coffee club. I was in clubs I didn't even know the name of, and I don't know why I joined them. It was just because I wanted to make friends, and it was awesome. So I really miss it. I still am in constant contact with so many friends I made from back then. And here's a couple more pictures of what I did during. I was only there for like 3.5 months. I saw everything from mountains to the ocean to monkeys to Buddhist temples, and my favorite part, everyone's gonna say, is night markets. Night markets are amazing. I love eating a ton of. I eat a ton of food. I eat a ton of food. I have a huge metabolism, and night markets are just like my kryptonite, you know? Like I could blow $20, $30 at a night market in one night and wake up and regret all of it. But it'd be so delicious. Oh man. Anyways, I'll keep going. So after my first time in Taiwan was 2023 in the fall. I was a senior in college. So the about 6 months later, I graduated. And after I graduated, I won a second scholarship to return to Taiwan at a different university. The second scholarship I got was way more money. It covered almost everything, and I'm super helpful for the help. I'm sorry. I'm super thankful for the help I got from Dr. Tan and from people who were writing me recommendation letters and helped me with this process. Um, so my second, and I started studying here a few weeks after I graduated, actually in late June, I think, after I graduated in May or June of that same year of 2024. So my second semester in Taiwan was at Danjiang Daxue at Tam Kang University. It's on like the northern tip of Taipei City. It's not really downtown like my first semester was, but it was still connected by the subway and stuff. That, like I said, that's the scholarship I won, the AC Fulbright Hayes Scholarship. And this time around, it was so much more intense. Uh, I had literally no free time from sunup to sundown. I was either in class, studying, or doing stuff related to class. And it was still fun, but I was a little bit disappointed because the first time I went there, it felt like a vacation. I had so much free time. I was making so many friends. I was like, wow, I was so excited to go back. And truthfully, I learned so much more the second time around. I guess it was a little bit more like a wake up call because I already graduated. Like at this point, I'm an adult, bruh. So yeah, I learned so much, and it really did help me with like my fluency. Although I was a little disappointed about like the free time and stuff. But I really promise that shouldn't discourage you from being interested in a program like this. There was still a lot of amazing things I did. Like we did go on like organized field trips. Um, we went on like overnight trips to different cities as a whole class. And my favorite part about this specifically was I was assigned a host family. So I actually went camping in like the countryside in a mountain in Taiwan with a host family. That's the picture on the bottom with they had like two teenage girls, maybe a little younger than that. Those girls hated me. They wanted nothing to do with me. They were so embarrassed to have. They were like, "Who's this foreigner that mom and dad invited to camp with us?" And like he doesn't even speak our language perfectly. And they just sat on their phones in the camper and playing on their phones the whole time. But it was all right. You know, they smiled for the pictures. Uh, but yeah, I'm actually still talking to the mom and dad right now. And if I ever do go back to Taiwan, they always welcome me to stay at their apartment. So those are some lifelong friends I made, and that was definitely my favorite part of my second semester abroad in Taiwan. So here's some more pictures of what I did the second time around. Like I said, I went to a green onion farm. You put on the rain boots and you trudge through the mud, pick some green onions and make some pastries with them. That was such a crazy, unique experience. I loved it. I met up with some skateboarding friends that I made the first time around. I went surfing. That's me in Ximen, the cool new young people district of Taipei. I also got invited by a friend to do like a rap concert with him together. So I'm not a rapper, I'm not a singer, but I put a verse together like overnight just for the hell of it, part of my language, and it was awesome. It was such a cool experience. Everyone's so welcoming, and you know they're it was really cool. It was really unique. And the bottom right corner is me with some of you might recognize this other student, Charles Wiggins. We actually went on this program together in 2024. Although he went to a different university in a different city, we still took flights together there and back. And of course, we were in constant contact the whole time. Charles is a very good Chinese learner, and he's awesome. And I'm not quite sure if he's still at school because I know he still had some plans to finish up a little bit after me. But if you're there, hey Charles. Any questions so far?
Good. Yeah.
No. Cool. Okay. So, right. After these 2 times in Taiwan, I'm already graduated. I'm like, okay, what do I do? And my thought process was I got a little bit of money in the bank, like just enough to make something like a trip happen. Because I was like, dude, I don't wanna go traveling when I'm 80. It's gonna suck. So I was like, okay, before I get a real career, before I lose most of my free time, before I get all these responsibilities, I'm gonna take a trip around China because although I went to Taiwan twice, I never had a chance to leave because based on the rules of my scholarship and my visa, I was there in Taiwan to learn, not to go on international trips. If you think about it, why would the government give me money to study if I'm just gonna leave the country anyway and just go explore other countries? That's pointless. So based on my rules, I had to stay in Taiwan twice for a total of 6 or 7 months. I was really disappointed I couldn't see anywhere else in Asia that whole time. So before I got a real job, I decided to go on like a backpacking trip around East Asia, and it was so worth it. It really was so eye opening on so many levels. Not just because yeah, it was a fun vacation, but also it helped me realize where I want my new home to be. So I went in October/November of 2024. I went from, that's incorrect. I went from the south to the north, not north to south. So I started in Hong Kong. These are the Chinese names for the cities. I was in Xianggang, Auman, Guangzhou, Xi'an. Anyway, I'm sorry. Anyways, Hong Kong, Macau, Guangzhou. I was in some small towns like Yangshuo, Chongqing, Chengdu, Xi'an, uh, Pingyang, Beijing, Tianjin, and I also made a stop in South Korea for a few days in Seoul. So that was an amazing vacation. I saw so many things, and truthfully, I know some of you guys might have seen like iShow Speed, like his stream in China recently, and that might have opened some eyes to you. But being even just a couple years older, I never really had a similar experience to like this new, very, very new trend of Americans realizing that China is actually a really awesome place to visit or even live in. I actually started my time at Coastal during coronavirus. Like at Hicks Dining Hall, like you had to wear a mask and you couldn't eat inside. Like you had to take your food home to your dorm, and there were no there were no in-person classes. So it was a very different culture when I started, and I think a mix of the misinformation I was fed in America and also just existing stereotypes. They kind of hurt my view of China a little bit. And I was so glad to see that over these few years that drastically changed into something that is much more realistic, much more positive. And this China trip I took was just the cherry on the cake. And it really made me realize, wow, wow, like I need to get out of America. And for people who love to live in America, no shade, I do agree. It's still generally a very nice place to live, but just for my own personality and for who I am, China seemed to fit me a lot more. And I'll get into why a little bit later. But here's, I took a full month or even actually more than a month. I, there's countless pictures I couldn't fit on this slideshow, but I saw the Great Wall of China, of course. Excuse me. I Oh my gosh. I saw some really, really amazing things this when I was in China, and I really wish I had like 15 more slides where I could just cram pictures into. But here's just a few of my favorites from anywhere in China I took, and it was truthfully amazing. So right. So now I got back from this trip in November of last year, and I'm out of money. I have no job. I'm graduated. Now what? I started looking for a job in America. I applied to a lot of government agencies. I applied to a lot of private companies, anything from being like a translator to being foreign language information to linguistics or language experts at government agencies like the CIA or Department of State. I applied to all of these things. If you look on that piece of paper, I took the Foreign Service Officer test to be like a diplomat. I actually tested like way above the median. I did way better than most people. I failed quickly. I didn't get any job offers. I think my biggest reason why I didn't get a lot of responses in America is I'm a fresh graduate. Um, my closest thing to a real full-time career experience is tutoring language at Coastal. And yeah, that's nice, but I think these type of professional job offers, we're looking for a little bit more than that. So uh, my thought process is, okay, how about I get a job that is just for a couple years, and you know, it'll help put me some money in the bank to like get a nest egg to get my real career started, and also it'll be fun. I'm still young. How about I take advantage of this and I leave America and start looking elsewhere? Because if American companies don't want me, I'm not going to force myself on them. So this is my thought process. China was amazing. It blew me away. And it doesn't just have to be a vacation. So this is, it says, want a job in China? Here's some tips. Here's what I started to do. Here's how I started to look for jobs in China. And if you guys are interested in something like this, take some notes. This, of course, isn't comprehensive. There's so many more ways to find jobs here, but here's the things that I tried first, and apparently it worked because I have a job right now. But they do have job websites in English you could look on. Excuse me. For example, eChina Cities, that's specifically the website I found my job on where I'm at now. There are plenty of other job listings on ZipRecruiter, China Job, Hire China, etc. And also there are job fairs. And like, yeah, you actually don't need to live in China to attend Chinese job fairs. They're online too. So, and if you have any type of preference of city or like weather or culture of where you want to be, every single major city, and there are a lot of major cities in China. So every major city has online job fairs, so you could take a look if you want to specifically be in one place, or there are some job fairs that are all over if you don't have a preference. And the process for getting a job here is first find a job and get hired, sign your contract, and then apply for a Z visa, which is the Chinese work visa, online, and submit your stuff to Washington, D.C., to the embassy. And then after you get your stuff back, you move here and you get a residence permit. You have to visit the 公安局. You have to visit the public safety office here. And honestly, it all went really smoothly. I had a much more difficult time communicating with the Taiwan visa office and stuff for my two study abroads. This was a really smooth process after I found my job. No complaints, no type of red tape or anything that's really discouraging you. If anything, they encourage you to come and visit and work here. So here's my new job. I teach at a bilingual kindergarten. I'm an English teacher, and my school is called Wenhuang Yuan, Whaleston Kindergarten. And I teach the baby class, which are 3-year-olds. And oh my God, they're so cute. Like, I like kids. They're cool, but like, I feel like such a oh my gosh, I feel such like a sense of enjoyment and accomplishment, like helping these kids not only build a positive relationship with foreigners, but also improve their English skills so much. Here's one of my favorite students. Her name is Unicorn. She's wearing my winter gloves on like one of the first days of school. And here, let me go back and turn the volume on. Hi, Dalma. Hi, Anson. So, let me play it one more time. But some of you in Chinese might understand what I was asking her. I said, "太大了吗?" Like, are your gloves too big? And she's so cute. Well, 大不大? 太大了吗? Hi, Anson. And yeah, this is a really this kindergarten I work at is really affluent. It's one of the nicest kindergartens in the city, so I'm told. So they have a lot of really nice resources, and these kids are also super sweet. So here's some pictures of some other some other days, some other moments of my first few weeks in school here. This little kid on the left, his name is Jimmy. I got to name him. I named him after my little brother Jimmy. He's
Oh,
so cute. He's only 2 years old, so he doesn't really speak yet, but he knows a few words, and I actually taught him how to say tiger the other day in English, which I'm really proud of. So here's I'm following Jimmy around. He knows how to say "I seen 喝水." I seen is his nickname, and he says 喝水, like drink water. He really only knows his name in like a few short phrases in Chinese. So here's that. Come on, it's a video. It should be here. 喝水，喝水，I seen 喝水. So cute. And these kids really love me. They love to play dress up with me and they love to ask me all of these questions. They're most fascinated that I have like when I wear shorts to school, they're most fascinated that I have like hair on my legs. They're there's so many cultural differences and many things that I'm also shocked about. Like occasionally these kids have international food for like lunch or dinner. And these kids hate sandwiches. I was so sad about that. But it's just a cultural thing because these children grow up eating completely different food, and that was what I was most sad about. And also pasta they didn't like. I was like, oh man, like you guys have no idea. But anyways, it's such an amazing experience teaching here. I'm so glad I took this job. Not only am I getting work experience, not only am I making money, not only am I uh, starting like a new chapter of my life here, it's really enjoyable and it's really fulfilling. So, anyways, here's my schedule. I have a question I want to ask you guys.
mhm.
So, my schedule is a little different than typical American work schedules. Um, Mine is the one on the right. I work from 8 to 5:30, which yeah, that sounds a little long. It's not a 9 to 5, but I have a 2.5 hour lunch break in the middle of the day. So I actually end up working a little bit less than most people. So, who would rather have a 9 to 5 or who would rather have a longer work day with a long break in the middle?
Long break.
9 to 5, raise your hand. Oh, just a couple. We have two, and the other one, all of them, yeah, they agree with you. The other one's better.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's so nice to be able to take like a huge nap, or I could go home, or I have the freedom to leave my campus during the middle of the day. I agree too. I really like my work schedule. Um, I have a Oh, by the way, my income tax here, 1%. My income tax, I pay
John,
1%.
Johnny, if
So
you don't mind, can you tell them a little bit about the pay and also like how much you are paying for rent, like just to give them an idea of the income and rent ratio and food and everything, like if
oh
you don't
yeah, of course.
mind sharing.
Yeah, I'm gonna get into that really soon actually.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
So, but yeah, my in terms of my salary though, I don't make that different of a salary than some Americans. At least American teachers. So while someone might look at my paper and be like, okay, that's not the highest number I've ever seen, but I'll get into it in a second why it's actually really good, especially for Chinese standards. So I'm gonna come back to that. Okay, so not to put a specific number, I make a few $1,000s a month. Um, my apartment, I rented a two-bedroom apartment that I'm in right now, fully furnished. I'm on the 26th floor. Here's the outside of my apartment building. I'm in a very nice complex. They have like a lot of nice services like free e-bike charging. They have like public parks and stuff, and the neighborhood's really nice, very convenient. Here's my apartment building, what it looks like on the outside, and over here is my e-bike. I got this thing brand new from the dealer for 500 US dollars. Pretty cheap, right? You can't even get a bicycle and okay, maybe you can. You can't even get like some bicycles in America for 500. So, yeah, while this e-bike might only go 30, 40 miles an hour, my school is about a mile away. It's all I need. And It's a really cool looking e-bike. So here's a video of what my apartment looks like. And after I play the video and show you guys like my living conditions, what I live in, I want you guys to make a guess about how much I pay in rent monthly. This is a little longer of a video, so it might take a second to load. I'm sorry. Here. Furnished. Two-bedroom apartment.
This is a typical Chinese apartment. That's what most apartments look like in China. They use tiles instead of floor or carpet. Nice decorations.
Thank you.
Stuff.
So that's just a quick introduction. Not bad, right? Like appliances are new. Like I said, fully furnished. Any guesses for how much I pay in rent monthly
In US dollars, how
in
much?
US dollars?
150.
What else? What other guesses you have? 350? Anything else? 800?
Gotta be like near grand.
And near a grand. Anyone else?
100.
100? There's
150.
150. We got a wide range from 150 all the way to a grand. So Johnny, please review.
Yeah. So about 190.
Yeah, that's right.
Move to China tomorrow.
How much is that in Chinese? How much is that in Chinese?
It's
2,000 yuan.
1,300 renminbi a month.
Yeah.
190 a month?
190
That's for
yuan,
Chinese.
the Chinese currency, but it's about 200, right? US dollars. Yeah. And he's making a few thousands.
Yeah.
So think about that ratio.
That's right.
Yeah. And it's not just rent that's cheaper. Like
Food.
food, all of my expenses, my phone bill, my electric bill, all of my grown-up bills I need to pay are cheaper. Charging my e-bike, even though it's free, if I would need to do it elsewhere, it's like 25 cents. Public transportation, if I want to take the bullet train to Nanjing, $1.50. Just everything is just so much cheaper. And like I said, although my salary isn't as high as maybe what I would make in a job in America, I'm actually saving so much more money than I would even if my salary was higher at home. So, anyways, I skipped a slide. Let me go back for a second. So, here's where my apartment is. I live in Ma'anshan. Some people would say it's a suburb. Some people would say it's just a city near Nanjing. In Chinese, it means horse saddle mountain because there's two mountains on either side and there's a valley. That's why it looks like a horse saddle. There's 2 million people here. Yes, it's a suburb with 2 million people, not Nanjing with 2 million. Nanjing is like 12 or 15 million people, which is almost twice as big as New York City, by the way. So, although there's 2 million people in my suburb, I don't think I've come across one foreigner yet in 2 months who doesn't work at my school.
But
So,
close to Nanjing, yeah.
yes. Oh, okay. In Nanjing I have, but yeah. But not in my Anshan. So yeah, in Nanjing and bigger cities, the foreigner population is much, much higher. But yeah, I don't think I've come across one foreigner here, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. But that also means there's very, very few Western restaurants. In a city of 2 million people, I have one McDonald's, one Burger King, a couple Starbucks. I don't go to Starbucks, so that's not important to me. But that's okay because honestly, Chinese food is so much better. Um, there's so many different types of Chinese food, and Americans might just like group them all together because of a lack of exposure. But there's so many different types of Chinese food, and there's so many different Chinese cultures with distinct culture and flavor. There's really a lot to try after you move here. I think one of my favorites is lanzhou, like lanzhou noodles, or also like local food like Anhui Te. And Anhui province food is also really good. And like I said, Ma'anshan, my city, is about 40 miles from Nanjing, so an hour in the car, or if you take the bullet train, it's only 15 minutes for $1.50. Not bad, right? And it's also well connected to Shanghai. You can take the bullet train directly to Shanghai as well in about 2 or 3 hours. So here's like this little video in the corner is just one of the downtown street corners in my city. There's some malls. It's very lively at night. They have a lot of bars and like KTV, karaoke, that means. It's really awesome. It's a very nice place to live. I already talked about my apartments. Okay, cultural differences. I'm going to talk about quickly some cultural differences I noticed while living here. The Great Firewall, people have heard about that in China. And no, it's not a secret here. It's not hidden from people here. People are aware. And I will also say, almost all young people have VPNs now. So if you're playing video games and some guy with a Chinese name is destroying you, now you know why. He's playing with a VPN. So, but that being said, if you don't use a VPN, many services and websites that you're used to using are not available here in China. Like anything with Google, anything with Microsoft Office is heavily restricted. Any social media, Instagram, YouTube, etc., all of those are blocked. Things that you would rely on with like to help like your daily life or your homework, such as Wikipedia, ChatGPT, all of these things are not available. Although I will say many of them have like a very similar version with a different name in China. For example, DeepSeek, you might have heard of, is like the Chinese AI chat app. Entertainment apps, Spotify, Netflix, Hulu, those aren't available here without a VPN, although there are many local ones here, local apps. Western video games, almost all of them, but not Apple websites, which is how I made this presentation today. So I used Keynote, like the Apple version of PowerPoint. Yeah, basically anything you use here in America on a daily basis, it will be a little bit more difficult to access without a VPN. So that's one of my recommendations for any of you who are going to China soon for that May trip to China, or just in general, if you're considering in the future. Bring a VPN or get ready to get used to the new versions of apps, which there are many, and they're actually honestly a lot better in many cases. So other cultural differences, personal space. China is crowded. There is less land in China than there is in the US, and it's also about 4 or 5 times as many people. So naturally, you're going to be a lot more crowded, especially in big cities, especially during holidays, during travel times. Chopsticks. If you don't know how to use chopsticks, bring a fork or learn how to use chopsticks. Um, Also, sharing food is a big cultural difference here. When people order food as a group, it's it's not that every person orders their own dish. You order dishes that you share with other people, put it in the middle of the table. It's very different than the Western standard of ordering your own meal at a restaurant. WeChat and Alipay, everything is online now. Nobody carries cash anymore. Hardly anybody carries real credit cards anymore. Everything is done with your phone, from ordering food online to paying your bills to paying other people in the store. Everything's done with your phone now, which is honestly really convenient. And my favorite app, my favorite Chinese app that I use is called Meituan. It's amazing. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's the Chinese version of Uber Eats. I actually just got some sushi and some shrimp yesterday, um, and including the delivery fee, it was $4, and they bring it all the way up to my door. They enter my community, they go up the elevator, and oh my gosh, I love Meituan. And like I said before, there are also very similar apps that you would be used to using in America. For example, Didi is very similar to Uber. Hello Bike is very similar to like bike sharing apps. So they have all the apps you need here, although they might have a different name than what you're used to. So here's some, that being said, although the food is really good, there are some foods that truthfully it did take me a little bit of time to start appreciating. So here's some food, some pictures I took. Stinky tofu. Does that sound good to anybody?
Of what? I had it before.
Smells like wet socks, if that makes it any more appetizing.
Not the worst.
Okay. What about like duck blood or duck head or duck feet?
had all of them, so like
It's
You
actually
do?
really good. I actually really like duck blood. Um, there are a lot of other foods. Grasshopper. Here's me eating like fried grasshopper. It's actually grasshopper's really nice too. It's really crunchy.
I think,
Um,
Johnny, everything here is common except grasshopper. I don't think that's very common in China though. Maybe in some like night markets that attract a lot of tourists, right? But
yeah,
the rest of them are very common, and you can have them here in the U.S. as well. So
that's
yeah,
true. That's true. There's a lot of barbecue places in my city that offer grasshopper on the menu. Maybe, I'm sorry, I thought it was a little bit more common than that.
yeah.
But yeah, here's some other pictures of other really delicious food I've been eating. I particularly like grilled fish, and yeah, they don't normally fry their fish. They don't like take the head and bones out. Usually, they keep the fish whole, and I actually think it's really delicious to eat it like that. Although it might be a little bit unfamiliar to some American people, it's really delicious. Hot pot is amazing. I love hot pot. The bottom left corner is called jiamuo. It's like almost like a Chinese sandwich. It's kind of different. Tastes really good. There's so many amazing Chinese foods you guys need to try if you ever consider going to China or even an authentic restaurant. They might have some foods like this in America. Really, really encourage you to try. So, was it worth it? Do I have any regrets? Yeah, it was worth it. Um, I don't think I don't have any regrets. There might be a couple things that I would say I would do differently, but that's just because I was inexperienced and you live and you learn. Um, but yeah, I would say there's no type of regrets I feel for moving here. It's truly I'm so excited that I have so much more I want to do during my 2-year contract of working at this kindergarten. I'm having such an amazing time. I have no regrets. And this is why I'm so excited and why I'm so energetic. It's at 5, 6 in the morning to be telling you guys about this. So, um, I was also asked to do like a comparison about how I thought living in mainland China and living in Taipei was different. So I'm not going to read all of them out, but I here's just a few points. I put a lot of positive things I found, and then I also made one critique about both Taipei and both Ma'anshan. So I'll give you a second to read that, and then I'll move on.
This is very helpful, Johnny.
Cool. I'm glad. Okay. So that's about all I have on my presentation. So I can put this screen back up if you want to keep looking. But I'm at the Q&A part. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask me?
Let's first give Johnny a round of applause for this super informative and eye-opening presentation that he gave during this time of, keep in mind, it's 6 a.m. in China right now. And I think you couldn't end it in a better way than saying like you're so excited to share that you're willing to do it at this time. And honestly, Johnny, let me just quickly, say this to you. I am so proud of you. 对你感到很骄傲, like everything you've achieved, and like just having this open mind to explore and embrace different lifestyles, different cultures. So thank you so much. 非常感谢 for this beautiful and inspiring talk that hopefully will get some of you some ideas, right? Moving forward with your college degrees, or some of you may be graduating pretty soon this summer. Hey, right? Maybe if you get rejected by a US company or something, get connected with Johnny and start looking for jobs on those websites, right? Anyways, I'll let you ask some questions. We have about 10, 15 minutes. Anyone? Yeah, Frankie.
I saw that you said it's gonna be a 2-year contract. What's your plans after the contract expires? Are you gonna continue teaching or are you gonna go in like the political area?
That's a good question. So my passport actually expires a few months after my contract does in 2027. So I don't have a choice except I need to go home and I need to get a new passport. During that time, I might look again for some jobs in America. But now that I know that living in China is awesome, I don't know if I'm gonna really look that hard in America. But yeah, I all things being said, I would truthfully I would like some job in the future relating to like politics, more a little bit closer to my major. Although I love teaching now, it's not something that at least right now that I might see myself doing for the rest of my life. At least it wasn't in my plan. Although I'm really enjoying it, so I'll see. Maybe I'll update you guys in 2 years.
Sounds cool. Anyone else? What's your biggest takeaway from this? I bet many things that really surprised you about China, right? Um, Anything you'd like to highlight from this presentation?
Cheap, cheap, cheap,
Affordable, right? Like the kind of salary you make is so much, you can save so much more than working here. And you saw some real life like footage, right, of his neighborhood, of his kindergarten and everything. How did you feel about his work and living environments? It's very different from here in South Carolina because we are now in a big city, but it's closer. Like in Ma'anshan, as Johnny introduced to you, it's not really like, huge in compared to Nanjing and Shanghai, but still you can see this totally modern side, right, of China. And anything else? Any questions? Yeah, Frankie again.
I don't know if you know this, but does China have a naturalization program or no? Like in the US, you could become naturalized.
To be like a citizen, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Uh,
can.
um,
I-
so that's a good question. I think Dr. Tan might be able to help me answer that one. But from my experience, there are like teachers in my school who are married to Chinese spouses,
Yes.
and
Mhm.
they have green cards. I don't know if that really makes them a full citizen, though. Maybe Dr. Tan can help me.
So it's a lot harder to become a Chinese citizen than a US citizen. Marriage is probably the most common way. And you also have to meet certain requirements, maybe living there for, I'm just, saying that on top of my head, maybe 10 years or 20 years to prove that you're attached, you're part of the society. It's a lot harder. Yeah. So I have a question, and I think many of you may be interested in knowing about this. Johnny, currently, as you know, I mean, the China-US relationship is always very complex, full of tension, right? To say the very least. And recently, we are facing, right, heightened tension due to the trade war, the increased tariffs. Being an American living in China, do you think these international, uh, turbulence or challenges have affected your daily life? And do people come to you and ask you questions about the US and your view of, let's say, politics or the government? And can you speak a little bit more about these aspects?
Yeah. That's yeah. So I don't feel any type of negative impact, although that these relationships, especially recently, have been getting a little bit worse between the two governments. Um, People don't take that out on me.
Mhm.
And if anything, people are curious. I've had many people ask me about what my thoughts on American politics are as a whole, especially recently with like the tariff war that's been going on. Um, I don't think it doesn't negatively affect me. Of course, you hear about it in the news here, and I have my own opinions on it. I could talk about it all day as a poli sci major. Uh, but I would feel like it kind of it has the same, it leaves the same impression that Americans receive. Like maybe in the future, when you start to feel the effect of tariffs and like your cost of goods might increase, maybe you'll start to feel it a little bit more then. But there's no direct effect on like my daily life right now about that.
Okay, that's good to know. One last question, and then we'll call it a day. Yeah.
So currently in the United States, our prices have gone up like high now. Has it gone up for you?
Oil prices.
Just oil, like our grocery prices are like in the roof now. Eggs cost like $30 a dozen sometimes.
So I don't have a car that uses gas, so I'm not quite sure about the oil question. But as far as groceries go, there's no type of inflation with groceries here. Like I just bought 10 eggs. They don't use dozens here, by the way. Cultural thing. I just bought 10 eggs the other day. It was like $1 or $1.50.
Oh,
So yeah, there's no type of like grocery inflation or anything like that happening right now.
And Johnny, you cannot see our crowd, but when you say some numbers today, we have students that have very like shocking expressions. Just want you to know. Yeah, and if no one has any questions or comments, I just wanted to say that I'm so glad to see you connecting with those 3 years olds, and my son is 10 months, and people keep telling me it gets easier after they're 3. So that's not
Maybe.
yeah. Anyways, well, thank you so much again for taking the time to share your story and talk to us and connect with the students in the Chinese program. And please send me your slides. I will create the link and send it to all of you in case, right? I mean, you never know what future holds. And I think some of you may already be interested in looking for some jobs information, right? I'll send the link, the PowerPoint to you, and you can do some research. And Johnny can also be a resource, right? If you, in case you're interested. And due to time constraint, I don't have the time to share the current available scholarships to go to China. I'll also send an email. If you haven't put your name on the sign-in sheet, please do so. I will send you an email with all the scholarships that you can apply to. Some of them that Johnny already mentioned because he benefited from them himself, but there are other opportunities that you can explore. All right.
I have one more thing to say too, if it's okay.
Oh, sure, of course. One more thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anyone is interested to see like the trips I'm going on or something, or just
Oh,
like my daily
yeah.
life here, I have a YouTube channel. It's called John in Ma Anshan. So if any of you
Oh,
guys are interested, there's a screenshot. You can
yeah.
take a picture and subscribe to me. So
That's awesome. And you have all the backpacking videos in there, right? In
yeah,
Taiwan.
yeah, yeah. Also from Taiwan, my study abroad is also on there too. So
Yeah, these can be our future cultural events for our classes.
we watch.
Yeah, watch and leave comments. Yeah, but thank you so much for sharing this. It's a great resource. And knowing that you're from Coastal, it's really even more special for us. Yeah.
yeah,
All
you're
right.
welcome.
Yeah, thank you all so much. Have a great evening and enjoy your long weekend. 周末快乐啊。All right, Johnny, 太感谢你了. Thank you so much. You did an
你
excellent job, and I can't thank you enough for this. It's just perfect. Yeah.
你不用客气，是
Of
活该
course,
的。
yeah, yeah, come in, yeah, yeah, and we have, yeah, 再见, we have students. What's your name?
Lane.
Lane. Yeah, Lane wants to ask you a question.
How was that
Hey,
surf in Taiwan? Was it consistent?
dude, the surf is good there, man. It's straight off the Pacific
Oh
Ocean. So
my God.
yeah, and it was a volcanic beach. So like it's like gray, dark gray
Whoa.
sand. It was really awesome, man.
Which class are you taking now?
I'm with Dasheen and
Yeah, which at 110.
yeah.
If you continue and apply for the scholarship that he got, and
I'm just not that good at it. Like I
I
don't
mean, but even well, for you, if you go to Taiwan, they will give you like an evaluation, right? You can start from scratch, and it's all about the experience. It's not just gaining proficiency in the language, but just having all these great experiences that you can do the same surf that he did, right?
that's
I
just
mean,
like that's crazy to me.
yeah, it's
Went
just
there for a whole semester and it's just
it
like
doesn't have to be a whole semester. It can also be just short term. 6 weeks, right? There's the 8-week program in the summer, and it won't delay your
yeah.
graduation or anything. And if you declare a minor, you can transfer the credits towards the minor. Yeah, but I think if you're a freshman,
No, I'm a sophomore.
sophomore, what's your major?
Business management.
I mean, that would be great to add this minor and explore, right, the opportunity. But yeah, you never know where you will end up, right? College is really an adventure. Just look at Johnny now.
That is pretty cool though. I like how you tried to find a job here and just like it sucked. So you went back and it just like worked out really well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lane, for staying. And yeah, good luck with everything in your class. I hope to see you continue.
Appreciate
Yeah.
you.
All right. 再见. Bye. Bye. Yeah, it's just I'm so proud of you, and I don't know what else to say, but I think it couldn't have been any better. It's really, yeah, just like I said, your story itself, it's already enough to get students start thinking about what's out there, right? Beyond the classroom, beyond the local life. And yeah, I mean, I'm so glad to see you're so successful and so yeah, it feels great and accepted, welcome, and everything's going so well for you in China.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chen. Like, truthfully, I really meant this. I think your class has been so helpful in my progression and my understanding of Chinese. Not only the language, but also you've taught me so many cultural things in class too. And although it might appear to like some students who don't have an interest of going abroad, that's not important. I really agree that especially like 待遇嘛, or sangguan, or just like any, like you taught me so many cultural things in your class that have really impressed a lot of people here. So I
Yeah,
want to
and
thank you for that.
you had the open mind to learn new things. And I mean, like everything that the great things you're experiencing now, it takes one step, right? Which is right, going abroad, applying for a visa. So yeah, I mean, I'm so happy that you're doing so well, and it's so well deserving.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and well, still you can come see us. We'll see what happens, in May, and if you can come during like on a weekend or something, and then we'll be in touch.
Yeah, definitely text me on WeChat. I would be really interested into going to Changchun.
Yeah,
Um,
and yeah,
but yeah,
that'll be
anyways.
great. Yeah, Johnny. Well, get some rest. Maybe you can sleep a little bit more. And
I gotta leave for work in like an hour. I just had a big cup of
yeah,
coffee, so I'll get some
uh,
work done. But
that's great. I love seeing those videos with you and the kids, and how you connected with them is just so beautiful.
thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah. All right，谢谢 Johnny 我
不用
们微信联
客气。
系啊。
好的，OK
好，再见，再见，再见。
OK，再见。
Yeah，yeah，再见。Yeah，Kenyatta。